Hello! Here we are doing another episode of the Crispy Compact Communiqué, giving you the Crispy Noodle podcast in some way, shape, or form in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. I'm Rich Liebig.
I'm Michael Costanzo.
And come hell or high water, somehow we will get a show to you every week. This is the Crispy Compact Communiqué, an offshoot of the Crispy Noodle podcast. We got a couple of topics to go over in the world of sports entertainment and odd news that we will get to. But before we get into all of those fun bits, Mike, how you doing? How's the last week of how's been the last week of staying at home been for you?
It's been fine, really. I mean, I feel like I have less and less to report on because there's literally nothing happening. Like today, there's literally nothing
What
happening.
a lead into the show.
I know, right?
Nothing is happening.
So the big takeaway that I had is right before the show, I was watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. When did that show come back?
It's on for the celebrity charity run right now.
Yeah, the celebrities doing it. So that's a pretty good thing. But it's just weird, like watching them in front of this. They're on this empty set. You know, it's completely empty. And I guess the people laughing are like the producers and the cameramen and stuff like that. It's really bizarre. But like that's been like a thing recently that I've been noticing. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire coming back in prime time. That's how desperate we are. They're like, let's bring back these shows from the 90s and air them during prime time.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Hey,
it struck me as odd.
Game shows are eternal. Game shows will always be eternal and will always work in a pinch.
They're the great unifier.
Yeah. Sad to say, speaking of game shows, probably right around this time, if it was, any other normal year, this is when I would probably be promoting the game show marathon. But unfortunately, with coronavirus, that was one of the events that fell victim to this whole quarantine. So we had to officially postpone it for 2020, which I'm a little disappointed in. We all held out hope. We all tried to hang on as long as we could, but in the end, it was better to make sure that everybody knew that our event would be postponed rather than play like a half guessing game. Would it still go on and stuff like that? So it was the right move to make, but unfortunately, just as someone who loves game shows, it was just a punch in the heart to have to cancel it. But that means in 2020,
I know how much you. Yeah, I know how much you enjoy doing that too, and it's for such a good cause.
Yeah, but that means in 2021, that means we're gonna tear the frickin' lid open whenever we get around to doing the next game show marathon. So that's what that means, in my opinion. But yeah, in the meantime, though, you can always watch other game shows that have been on TV. And speaking of ABC, the Pressure Luck and Match Game shows have another season in the summer. And they're billing it, summer fun of games. So there's more game shows coming down the pike. Yay!
Okay. You do love your game shows.
I do. It's great. The 3 Gs: Ghost, golf, and game shows. That's my G trinity.
That's your perfect world right there.
Yeah, it's great. It's perfect. Okay, so you have nothing to talk about then for your personal update.
No, not really. There's not much going on. What about you,
That's fine.
Rich? Other than game shows.
That's fine. I can take this because I finished Death Stranding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, was it good? Was it as weird as everybody thinks it was? Was it weirder?
So it's weird.
There were a lot of people showering.
Yeah. There is an odd number of shower scenes in this game. Norman Reedus, he has to shower because it's like a gameplay mechanic. It actually, for lack of a better term, helps you fight enemies. I'll leave it at that. It's weird. You're just gonna have to take it at that. I can't.
Okay.
Literally, this game could be a whole day of explaining how this system works. But then like other characters get showers, and it's totally weird. It's like Was that like a requirement by Kojima? Was like, to be on this game, we have to capture you in the shower? Like, how do you take a shower? Because there's so many shower cutscenes.
That's super weird.
Yeah.
And I know you were telling me that it was like part of like there's like a semi-narrative reason, and now you say there's a gameplay reason for Norman Reedus specifically. That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
This is so I've never played a Kojima game. You've never played a Kojima game. But apparently they're all really bizarre. Mm-hmm. So I guess this lives up to the bizarre hype.
Yeah. The whole world is very bizarre, and the story is bizarre, but it makes you want to keep trekking ahead. Because I will say the gameplay mechanic is very slow and tedious. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it really is a mail simulator. It really is. You're basically a UPS driver in the apocalypse, trying to give all these supplies to various camps and shelters and stuff like that. Which, I get it. It's supposed to be knowable, and it's supposed to be like you're helping people in need and stuff like that. But in terms of an actual gameplay for a video game, it does kind of seem repetitive and boring. So I do get the criticism.
And it never picks up from that point. It doesn't get better than that.
It does, like, after the Act 2 moment. There's a twist when it comes down to the end of Act 2 in the game. If this is a 3-act game, the end of the Act 2 is when there's like a twist. And when that happens, it speeds up, and the story suddenly picks up and throws everything at you. A matter of fact, the last, like, episode, or they call it episodes, but I just call it cutscenes or mission or whatever. The last mission is literally just you watching the ending, which is like an hour and a half long. It's crazy.
Jeez, that's like a movie in and of itself.
The ending itself is like a movie. It's crazy. And it throws like everything at you.
That's really weird. You have to set aside like a whole bunch of time just for the final cutscene.
Yes. I'm going to, just FYI, if anybody's playing this game and they haven't come to the end, you have to block a good amount of time when you get to the end, because it plays like a movie at the end.
Wow.
With that said, the story, I actually did like the story, and I actually did like the way it concluded. So I will give props for the actual story design. The characters were pretty interesting. And top tier talent too. Everybody in this game that has, an extensive role in it is either a well-established actor or their character was really well thought out. There's another character. There's another character who basically dies every 20 minutes. It is ridiculous.
Okay.
It sounds like you'd be the worst character ever, but it actually is it's an interesting twist on it, and I'll leave it at that. Like, it's weird. Every character is either backed up by a really good actor or a really interesting or weird conundrum with them. So that really got to me, and I really like that part. The negative is some of the actual running back and forth between the camps. It is like a walking simulator, all that stuff. But at the end, I enjoyed it. I would give it like I give it 3.5 stars out of 5. It was okay. I'm glad I played it.
So like a solid 7 out of 10, a C average kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm glad I played it. I don't think I would go back and replay it.
It doesn't seem like a game that's built for that.
Yeah, it's at that level. I'm glad I played it once, but I think I'm done with the world now. I'm good.
Let's frame it like this. Is it a full price game or is it a buy it on sale game?
Buy it on sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I really want to know, because games get expensive.
Well, that's why I bought it. It was on sale a month ago on the PlayStation Store. I don't know if it still is. So that's why I took the plunge and went for it.
Right.
But I would say if it goes back on, I don't know, maybe it is still on sale. I have no idea. I haven't checked the PlayStation Store. If it is, I'd say go for it. And especially during quarantine, it's actually a perfect game for quarantine, because even though it does seem a little repetitive with the traveling and the delivery systems. It's actually good for like getting stuff done around the house or something, because you can do one task and then go do something in the house or something and come back to it, do another task, go do something. You know what I get? Or you could run and go get a drink or something. Like it's good to have that like break in it. So
okay,
yeah, it's perfect for quarantine is what I'm trying to get at. Also, it's in a post-apocalyptic world like the one we're in. So yay!
Yeah, you're it hits a little close to home, but appropriate for our times.
Just a smidge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say if it's on sale, go get it. If it's not, then you can hold off.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so there you go. That's what we've been up to personally. Let's get into the news topics that we do have prepared. Of course, we do sports. We love to talk about sports. And it's also appropriate with our streaming channel that we can do sports relatively in real time. So that's pretty cool. Let's do baseball first. Let's knock out baseball out of the way. It's been a while since we had a non-football topic here.
I know. Well, all the other sports stopped or didn't even start in the case of baseball. And that looks like it could be changing. MLB is looking to resume not resume, but start the season in, what did they say, July? I think it was.
So their target date is, if this plan gets approved by the Players Association, they would like to start it around the 4th of July, which,
very patriotic.
Yeah, spirit. Yeah, like in terms of the American spirit and everything, that would be perfect. But this is what the owners want. It hasn't gone through the Players Association yet. So Here are the guidelines for the reopening. Since we're talking about starting in the 4th of July, which normally would be around the halfway point of the season anyway, the Major League Baseball season would be cut in half. Each team would play around 80 to 82 games. Teams would play against teams in their own division and the matching interleague division. So for example, the Phillies would play the National League East and the American League East primarily. Right. That would be it.
Okay.
14 teams would make the postseason, going by NFL's new playoff structure. So that would be interesting. And baseball copying football. The All-Star game is probably going to be canceled. There's no reason to play that.
Right.
The teams would be playing at ballparks that would be allowed opened by the government. So if their state government has not deemed to have sports resume, then the team is going to have to find a new place to play somewhere outside of the state. And then another weird thing, because the American League and the National League are literally different rules, this agreement would establish a universal designated hitter for all games, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Sorry, National League, you have to pick it up and you have to put somebody as your designated hitter.
But doesn't that help the National League, though?
But there's kind of more strategy when you have the pitcher batting, because there are tactics you can use when the pitcher's coming up in the batting order to switch him out with another hitter.
Right.
Because you do it at like the end of in between one of the halves of the inning, and then you switch another pitcher in. There's more strategy. I'll just try and simplify it. There's more strategy. I'll put it that way. But then probably the biggest conundrum with this is that this would have a revenue sharing plan with the players, 50-50 split with the players, and they would have to take a pay cut in terms of their salaries because they're not playing a full 162 games. Instead, they're playing only 80.
I imagine that's got some players pretty pissed off.
That's right. And that perfectly leads into the other news topic with baseball that I want to get into is this guy, Tampa Bay Rays pitcher Blake Snell, who came out and he does not like this plan at all. He said, quote, "I'm not playing unless I get mine. That's just the way it is for me. Like, I'm sorry if you guys think differently, but the risk is way higher, and the amount of money I'm making is now way lower. Why would I think about even doing this? So he's complaining over the fact that he's not getting a full paycheck. And I gotta admit, even though he might be trying to look out for players, at the end of the day, this is coming off as the wrong message. The New York Post and a couple of other sports columns have just criticized him to hell and high water, because there's just like, how can you think about this and during this time? So
it's a real bad look.
Yeah.
Because right now during the quarantine, you have people risking their lives at minimum wage jobs, making sure that we can buy groceries, making sure that we can stop by CVS, making sure that we can get delivery to the house. You know, they're making $8, $9 an hour. And this guy is pitching a fit over getting cut from $7 million.
Is that a pun?
That was a pun. But he's
quality content here at the Crispy Noodle.
It never stops. But anyway, he's getting all pissed off because he's getting cut from $7 million to $3.5 million. Meanwhile, there are people out there that are doing essential jobs for far, far less. You want to talk about, higher risk and far less? Baseball, you're playing like 100 feet away from the next closest guy. People at Wawa are handing you food and they're making $8 an hour. So you want to talk about comparative risk to pay? This is a bad, bad look. Yeah. Now I get it. He should be guaranteed that money. If he's doing the job, if the contract is guaranteed, he should get the pay. But there's a right and a wrong time to speak up like this, and this was the wrong time. It's just really bad optics.
Yeah. This was not the right argument to go down at this time.
No.
I wish. Here's the thing he should have mentioned, and I think this might have been Tony Kornheiser or one of the ESPN afternoon guys. Nobody in this whole plan, if you noticed everything I read, nobody is talking about the specific way MLB is going to safely ensure that the players, or that they do their best that the players don't come down with the coronavirus. There's nothing in there that I read that goes over, what exactly will the testing be like? What exactly will, preventative measures be?
Right.
They
exactly.
Didn't
There's a tact to take with this that he could have that would have made him come out on top, made him look like a paragon spokesperson for the Players Association.
Yeah, instead he went renegade.
Instead he went renegade, and now he sounds like, I got to get mine. Like, all right, I agree. Everybody's got to get theirs, but it comes off bad when you're making $7 million.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it definitely was the wrong time to go down that route. If he had focused more on the health and safety of the players, he would have had a much better image to protect. Going down the money route was very disappointed, and it came out today. A lot of sports columns went and criticized the heck out of him. So while he may be trying to look out for fellow players, at the end, it was the wrong message and the wrong timing for it. But at the end of it all, with that aside, do you think that MLB will be ready to open the season on the 4th of July? Ready for your birthday?
No. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, of all the sports, baseball, I guess, could potentially be the safest to resume because there's not a lot of contact. You can never resume basketball. I think basketball is done for the season because they're right up on each other the entire time.
Yeah.
It's a much smaller field of play. Football has until September. Baseball is, like I said, the safest to resume. But I think looking to resume anything right now, especially that would require a lot of travel, you're talking about flights with the entire team. Getting them to and from in and out of states. I know they have private planes.
Well, that's why they're trying to do the scheduling thing I mentioned, where they stay in the division.
Yeah, I guess, but they're still going across state lines. You still have to pack everybody onto a bus, and then what? Do they play in front of empty stadiums? How's that going?
Oh yeah, it's probably going to have to be empty stadiums.
Yeah, but are some of the franchise owners going to like that? You have to imagine some small market teams aren't going to like that because they depend on that revenue because They don't have, necessarily the ticket sales and the merchandise sales of like the Yankees and the Phillies.
The small market teams, though, I heard a big reason for them being on board with this is they need the money from the local television and radio stations. They get paid.
Okay.
Yeah, right. This is something we never thought about, right?
Interesting, yeah.
The local TV stations and the local radio stations pay only if the games go on.
Okay.
So those smaller teams that you talk about, they are on board with this. They want this to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I still think they're going to be putting a lot of people at risk. Right now, the way things are going, the death count is up to over 85,000. I don't think anything should be opening. Now that's right now. I don't know about a month and a half from now, but like it's getting dicey out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, I know. This is where it could the slippery slope could go into politics and current news, so I'm going to try and steer us away from that.
Yeah, I don't want to delve into that too much,
but in terms of MLB reopening the season, I mean, if they could, the problem is they got to get the Players Association on board. If they hum and haul and stall, then this ain't happening. But if they can get them on board, I could see possibly a start in July. Maybe not 4th of July. I think that might be a little too soon as well. Because you also forget, these teams also, whenever everything is good to go, they're going to need training because now they haven't played at all since March. Yeah. They haven't played in like 3 months now. So they're going to need a little bit of time to get back into game shape as well. So I think that's
logistically, it's going to be a nightmare. Like you said, how are they going to test? How are they going to? And again, my concern is transportation across state lines and, back and forth across the country. I know you say stay within the division, but sometimes division teams are far apart from each other. That requires flights. It's a logistical nightmare. And baseball is not essential. Now, if this were football, that's a different story.
That's essential.
Baseball is non-essential workers, okay? Football is essential workers. I kid, of course. But the season's already almost half over. I know they set the July thing because that's the halfway point, but I feel like they're rushing it. I mean, I had tickets to see Les Mis back in March of this year, and that recently got rescheduled to January of 2021. Okay. I had Hamilton tickets that were canceled for mid-September. So you're telling me that baseball thinks that they have it all figured out? They're going to figure it out by July? They've solved the coronavirus problem. They're going to open up in July when these shows and movies are getting canceled out to 2021. But baseball's got it figured out. I don't buy it.
Well, baseball is stubborn enough that they probably would think that they do have it figured out. So
that's exactly what it is.
Other than golf would also be the other one. Golf would probably figure it out, but
that's figure it out, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's another topic for another day. Because there's another sports topic that I know Mike wants to get to raise his blood pressure up,
as if it isn't raised enough.
Yeah, this.
Let me
just go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike. This is your part. Go ahead.
I hate the Saints. Okay, the New Orleans Saints. So let me back up and say this. They did a real nice thing. They came out with this teaser for the season where they're like, we hate all our opponents except when it matters. And they did this whole thing where they sent meals to healthcare workers of all their 2020 opponents. That's awesome. That was a great thing. And then this comes out, a week later, one of the Saints blogs, Canal Street Chronicles, posts an article. What if the Minneapolis Miracle never happened? For those of you that are unfamiliar with the Minneapolis Miracle, it's when the Vikings beat the Saints in the 2017-2018 playoffs on a last-minute Stephon Diggs reception that went for a touchdown. That year, of course, the Vikings would go on to get destroyed by the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, and the Eagles would win the Super Bowl. But this article suggests, very blatantly so, that they would have won the Super Bowl instead of the Eagles had the Minneapolis Miracle not happened. And it's not even that article that pisses me off. It's just this whole air about the Saints. They can't let anything go, ever. They brought lawsuits against the NFL because of that missed pass interference call, what was it, a season or two ago. Now they're going back to the Minneapolis Miracle. They won't shut the hell up about all these missed opportunities the past couple of years. Face it, your quarterback is old. Your coach is a dick because he was suspended for a year for putting bounties.
Yeah, he took out my boy, Brett Favre.
Okay, so there's a distinct difference between a team of destiny like the 2017 Eagles and this full of themselves, can't let go of the past, low blow type team like the Saints. Okay, so that's my piece there. I don't like the Saints.
All right, so.
Go ahead, Rich.
I would say on
a
majority of fronts, I would agree with you. I hate to say it, but, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I mean,
right.
You can break down almost any season and pinpoint a play that if it had gone a different way, it would be a whole different result. Look at the damn Patriots. You can pinpoint 6 plays, and they would not have any of the Super Bowls that they would have had. So you unfortunately, the only way that I think that's entertaining is if you want to talk about multiple universes and the multiverse and stuff like that. So if we're going to go down that pike, okay, I'm with you. But in the meantime, if you're just doing this to personally try to complain and justify that you guys should have had a Super Bowl, doesn't work. Doesn't work. Yeah. End of story. It makes you look stupid. And I agree with all the other points that Mike mentioned about Sean Payton because he's not a good guy.
This is the difference between the Saints and the Eagles. The Saints are like, oh, remember 2 years ago and remember last year and remember all these problems that we had. Oh, we should have won. We could have won. The Eagles fans say maybe next year. That's the difference.
Yep.
Looking forward versus looking backward.
Okay. Well, another thing, too, is the Saints actually have a decent team. So I think that helps their cause. That like this whole mantra of we should have a ring by now, a new ring because Breeze did win one after Hurricane Katrina.
They're just getting greedy.
Well, they think they deserve another one. At least they have a formidable team that they're putting out there. All right, I will say Saints fans are not the worst. Dallas Cowboys fans are still atrocious. Still the worst.
Of course.
Look. They had the number one nobody has addressed this yet. They had the number one offense last year. And they went 8-8 and lost the division to Carson Wentz and a bunch of dudes from Wawa.
Yeah.
Nobody has a comeback for that. So Cowboys fans, as far as I'm concerned, are still the worst. But I will agree, Saints fans, they're starting to get more annoying. Stop.
They're like in the top 5, top 10 worst fan bases. Yeah. I think easily.
Stop thinking about all the missed opportunities. You gotta pucker up. Bad calls happen almost every game. You gotta figure out a way to adjust.
Exactly, it's all part of the game. You gotta look forward. Always looking forward, which is what I'm doing right now. Looking forward to July 3rd. I'm transitioning here to entertainment.
Ah, perfect.
Because there was a big announcement that I'm really excited about. Disney and Lin-Manuel Miranda surprised musical fans everywhere by announcing that Hamilton will be premiering on Disney Plus on July 3rd. Just in time for the 4th and just in time for my birthday. It is destiny, Rich.
This might have been the most excited I've ever seen you on Twitter. You got crazy. You started tweeting out this everywhere and... The Crispy Noodle Twitter was everywhere, and it was crazy.
I don't tweet at all, but this one got me going. For those of you that don't know, Hamilton's like my newest obsession for like the past probably 5-6 months, ever since I discovered it. It's a musical that I continue to listen to, and Rich, you could probably relate to this on some level with the Phantom of the Opera, where you listen to it so much, you think, God, I hope I don't get tired of it, but then you throw it on again. And it's just as exciting as the first time you heard it and the second time and the 10th time. And what makes it so much fun is that this one in particular, Hamilton, is so unique in the genres that it brings to the musical. I think to Les Mis is one of my favorite musicals. Yeah. And you hear Les Mis song, you're like, that's Les Mis's style. Has a very specific style, has a very specific tone and genre that it's going for. You can't pinpoint that with Hamilton. It's R&B, it's jazz, it's hip hop, it's ballads, it's regular musical type numbers. It's everything. It's comedy. It's American history.
It's America.
It's America. I know. Right before the 4th of July, everybody has to watch this musical. It is well deserving of all the praise it's ever gotten. I've listened to it. I've seen it in person down in Miami. It's a fantastic show. People have no excuse anymore. Now it's going to be on Disney Plus.
Yep.
You have to see it. You
Yep.
have to see it.
So yeah, this whole time, the whole reason why I couldn't see Hamilton was the prices were crazy. But now that they actually recorded a movie, yeah, definitely gonna check it out and see what all the hype is about. Yeah, to go back to Phantom, that's my personal favorite musical. Yeah, it's the ultimate rock and roll musical as far as I'm concerned.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
The Phantom of the Opera is supposed to be like the closest you're going to get to a rock star, and it hits all the buttons for me. I love the whole show. There's comedy in it with the owners that are clueless and don't know how to handle the situation. There's romance. There's there's some dashing action with Raoul going up against the Phantom. It has everything that I think the modern man wants in a musical. So that would be my favorite one if I had to choose. And then what I was saying on Twitter was it seemed odd that these musical happenings are occurring right around our birthdays. Because for me, for April, they had a special broadcast of the 25th anniversary of the Phantom of the Opera on YouTube on my birthday, which was great. Yeah. I literally blocked out that whole afternoon, and I was just like, nobody bother me. I'm going down into the rec room, and I'm enjoying Phantom of the Opera. I'm turning off the cell phone. I'm turning off email. Nobody's bothering me during this. So that was great. And now, Mikey, on near your birthday, you're going to get your beloved Hamilton.
Yeah, it's great how it worked out that way. And it's interesting. During this quarantine, it brings up an interesting point that I was thinking of, before the show, that it's a great opportunity for people to try out different forms of entertainment that they've never experienced before. Pick up a book you wouldn't otherwise read, or put in a video game like Death Stranding that you wouldn't otherwise play. Go watch a musical. Just what else do you have to do?
That's a good point. I don't know if I would have done Death Stranding if it was normal life and I had, events to go to and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So pick up something different, put on something different, give something new a shot in terms of entertainment, because that's all you got. You got Netflix and you got YouTube. There's only so many, shows and movies you can watch. Try something different that you haven't seen before,
There's only so many of the YouTubes.
There's only so many of the YouTubes.
So many of the tubes.
And my recommendation is, if you're not into musicals, but you're into history, or you're into, modern musical genres like hip hop and R&B, give Hamilton a shot, especially this Disney Plus version, because it's the original Broadway cast. It's not one of the touring casts. It's the original Broadway cast, and it's not a 25th anniversary edition like Les Mis or Phantom, where they just sort of sing on stage. They filmed the actual production while they were performing it. Okay. So it's like you're actually there watching the full stage production, just from the comfort of your home, and for $500 cheaper. So
yeah, there you go. You didn't have to blow money on it.
No. You know what? I will admit, it is a shame that ticket prices are so expensive. I got lucky in that they were really cheap comparatively in Miami, because when it was in Philly in November, it was like $500. Oof. I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Yep. It's prohibitively expensive sometimes.
Yep, that happens. But just to tweak a little thing that you said, the 25th anniversary of Phantom was actually still like an actual...
Oh, it was a stage production?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Because I know the Les Mis one was more like a concert. Like they stood there and sang. It was like kind of disappointing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, they didn't act that one out. Okay. But for Phantom they did. So I don't know if it's
nice.
I don't think it's still available now on YouTube. I think it only had like a certain run time, and then like they took it off. But if you do get a chance, that one was good as well. Actually, speaking of Disney Plus and stuff like that, we did have a user question that came in to follow up a topic that we discussed on last week's show, talking about Star Wars.
Okay.
We did a Star Wars list ranking all the movies 1 to 11, all the live action films.
Right.
Full article is on the crispynoodle.com. Go check it out. But Mike C, not you, Mike, a different Mike C.
Okay.
He gave us a comment, and he said, "Why didn't you put The Mandalorian in on your list?"
It's not a movie.
And yeah, that right. The thing was, it wasn't a movie, but he wants to say, if you had to put it in on the Star Wars list, where would you place it?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Do you want me to do you want me to take it first, and while you think of this, because I know I didn't tell you this ahead of time.
Yeah, go ahead. You go first,
Okay.
because I also haven't watched it to completion. So you go first.
Yeah, Mike, gotta finish that.
I know.
Anyway,
I'll get there.
right. So here's what I'm gonna say. The first season of The Mandalorian is pretty damn good. It is worth your time. That The Mandalorian and Rogue One, they walk that fine line where they have enough references to material in the original trilogy that you love it, but they don't rely on it, and they walk that fine line perfectly. Another thing that I love, I think everybody loves, is Baby Yoda. That is like the perfect way to have an essence of the Force, but it isn't heavy on the Force, or it doesn't ignore the Force either, which is our main problem with Solo. Solo, when we had our discussion, we said that Solo didn't really feel like a Star Wars movie if you take all the insignias and signs off.
It's just a space heist.
Right. So, and the reason why is because there's no mention of the Force, there's no Force powers, there's nothing bigger than the actual story itself. Whereas The Mandalorian, because they have this cute little Baby Yoda who every now and then happens to use the Force, they can cautiously put it in every now and then, and it floats just right in the story. So I think it's really good. It's on par with Rogue One. The only knock I have against it is it's a TV series. So it's an unfinished work of art as of now. So right. I'm hoping that it never jumps the shark, because if it does, then it's going to sink in the rankings. But as of right now, it's up there. I would put it slightly behind Rogue One. That's where I would put it in the list.
Really?
Yeah.
So what was Rogue One for you, like fourth or fifth?
That was fifth.
So Mandalorian is sixth on this list.
I would say that's pretty fair. Yeah.
See, now that's kind of high for me. Now, so I didn't actually finish Mandalorian, and the reason why I never finished it is because it didn't sink its hooks into me like I wanted it to. The first 6 episodes were good, but I don't know, maybe I missed what everybody else was getting from it, but the characters were just sort of, they just were like, the mystery only takes me so far, like mysteries need to have answers at some point to keep people caring. And I just felt like it was a bunch of disconnected scenes one after another to sort of string us along on this journey. Now, I didn't finish the last 2 episodes, so maybe things do get wrapped up, and judging by your reaction, it probably
there's definitely one thing that you need to see. Yeah, from 7 and 8. Yeah, you have to watch that.
Okay. And everybody's been saying, "Oh, you got to finish it." I found it kind of dry at times. Baby Yoda was a highlight. The action scenes were highlights. There's a lot of stuff to like, but at the same time, I found it kind of dull at points. Personally, yeah. I mean, it was, and I'm trying to remember back. I'm trying to look back because it's been out a while now, you know. So maybe my opinion is just soured on it over time because I didn't finish it, and maybe it's something I need to go back and give another shot, and maybe that will change my opinion of it. Maybe coming at it with fresh eyes instead of 5-month stale eyes, unfinished stale eyes. Maybe it'll be different. But as of right now, I wouldn't rank it that highly. I would put it probably somewhere in the lower half, probably like maybe in the 8 or 9 range. There's a lot of really good Star Wars movies that they hit all of the marks that you want them to. The original trilogy, of course, is up there. Then I personally liked Force Awakens and Last Jedi. Really liked Rogue One. Even liked Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, thank you.
So that's all. Yeah, so that's already a minimum of what, 7 movies.
Yeah, you got 7
that it doesn't crack. So I feel like the highest I could reasonably place it is probably 8th. It's not gonna beat out any of those 7 movies for me personally.
Okay, so there you go. That's our own personal opinions for Mike C on that comment. Wanted to know where we would put Mandalorian. Basically, I would just have that little disclaimer that it's still not finished, so I can't put it in the list yet.
But also, that starts a slippery slope because there's other Star Wars television shows.
Yeah, but that's a live action one,
Yeah, but I feel like that's a cop out though. It's a live action, but it's still a television show.
Yeah.
One television show, or you include all the television.
Right. Are we going to go down Rebels? Are we going to go through? I don't really want to.
And apparently, was it Rebels? Is that the one with Darth Maul? It's supposed to be really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the scenes are really great. There's a rematch between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ooh.
It's really good. It's really good.
Now you see that's interesting because I feel like everything I've heard about Star Wars television shows has always been about Rebels being so good and Clone Wars being so good. Nobody talks about the Mandalorian like they do Rebels. At least not in the
oh, Mike, yeah, no,
the sites that I've been following.
No, there's a good section of the Star Wars fandom that loves Mandalorian.
Okay, is it just because it's a Boba Fett lookalike? Be honest with me.
It's Boba Fett.
Honest with me.
It's Boba Fett.
That's exactly what it is.
This is the way. It's Boba Fett.
This is the way.
Boba Fett where?
Yeah.
That's what everybody does. All right. Well, enough Star Wars talk. That was just a user comment that we got that I thought was really interesting.
But that brings up a good point. If you guys do have questions or comments that you want us to talk about, send us a message, comment below.
Yep.
We will happy to answer almost anything.
Yeah, we read all the comments and direct messages that we get. So yeah, leave us a message below or comment, whatever you want to do. Let us know and we'll tackle it. In the meantime, though, I need to move on from entertainment. We've covered sports. We've covered entertainment. It's time for some good old-fashioned odd news. I always love to pull one crazy story from the past week to read here on the Crispy Compact Communiqué. And this one I found, and it's perfect. It's Florida. It's Walmart.
Man. Oh, it's like a home run, Florida and Walmart.
It's got a wacky excuse. It's the trilogy of what you need in a decent odd news story.
Here, let me transition you in properly. Who's this effing guy in Florida? It's Florida, and they're crazy.
There you go. Perfect. There you go. Mike's the sound effect.
Hey, we don't have the soundboard, so somebody's got to fill in for all the sound effects,
Yeah. Okay, so this is a real story that happened in Florida. A Florida man was arrested for twice grabbing the rear end of a female Walmart shopper. So, yeah, of course, just going right for the booty. Not following social distancing guidelines at all, this guy. Just going right for it. He explained to Florida police...
Hold on, Rich.
Yeah.
I got to stop you because you cut out on me because my internet connection has been terrible.
Oh, no. You didn't hear any of that?
I missed everything you just said.
Okay. All right.
This is how you know it's live because you just froze and I was like, oh no.
Uh-oh.
I can't comment on a story I can't hear. So you got to go back and
I'll reread it.
Thank you.
A Florida man was arrested for twice grabbing the rear end of a female Walmart shopper. So
okay.
There you go. Perfect.
As Florida men do.
Yep. Not following social distancing guidelines.
No. Oh, that's true.
Yeah. It's
a whole other level of wrongness to this.
Yep. Just right out the window. Cops say that the 29-year-old victim was walking through the Walmart in Largo, which is outside Tampa Bay, when she noticed Juan Antonio Velez was following her. At one point, the 6'3", 250-pound man walked up to her and grabbed her butt. The victim said that 30-year-old Velez then continued to follow her throughout the store. So, wow, just doesn't get the hint.
Jeez, come on, guy.
And then she made it to the checkout line. So now they're in public. Like now you're at like the front of the store.
There's like other people around. You're not like in like some back aisle somewhere.
Correct. Yeah, right. This is now away from the back aisles. You're now in front of the public. And Velez again went to grope her buttocks, according to cops.
Oh my God.
Just in front of everybody.
Right. He just doesn't care.
So now everybody sees what you're doing. That's when security people then called cops to arrive on the scene. Police questioned Velez. That's when he confessed. I guess you have to, because now everybody saw you do it.
He was caught red-handed.
Yeah. Then he said that, quote, "I'm sorry, officers. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that. I thought this is how you talk to women."
What? Oh my God, shut up. What is this idiot?
Maybe like in the 1950s.
Yeah, right.
Maybe that would have been.
Not even then.
Maybe,
not even
you
then.
know, maybe if this was Mad Men, maybe.
Yeah,
like,
maybe if it's a fictitious show about the 1950s and 60s.
And I'm talking about like the very first season. Like it's got to be like before there was even the women's right movements in Mad Men. It's got to be like the very first season, the very first episode of Mad Men. Maybe you could have got away with it.
But it's not Mad Men.
No.
And it's coronavirus time. So this is like doubly wrong. This is how I thought you talk to women.
Yes.
Really? But you're not even talking. You're just groping.
Maybe it's like, is it like a weird like braille code? Boop, 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 boop.
Like what? Like Morse code? Like a groping Morse code?
Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. Okay.
The video makes it so much for the first time. So people don't realize, but this is what Rich and I do normally when we record the audio version. We do weird hand motions and stuff, and I always joke nobody can see what we're doing.
Yeah.
But now they can, and it makes it doubly weird, Rich.
Yeah, there you go. That's the best I can come up with.
That's the best you can come up with.
Like he's got some sort of braille code to use, and that's how he's trying to talk to women.
Yeah, right. Talk. Oh my God.
Yeah. The BBB braille, but
the booty braille
binary system. Because it's two options. It's either the over or the under.
The over or the under.
Those are your two options.
So hold on, let me get this system right. So is this like Morse code? There's like a small tweak and then like a long tweak.
And there's an over and an under.
An under. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have four possible combinations between short and long and over and under.
Right. It's the braille buttocks binary code. Yeah. That's what he was trying to do. This poor man. So he said
well, she apparently didn't know that.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't know about the braille binary, the buttock. How did I get this? The buttocks braille binary system. That's what she should have known.
Braille binary code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this does not fly for cops, of course. So they arrested him. He was charged with battery. So that's a serious crime coming his way.
Yeah.
And he's been ordered to have no contact with the victim.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, also, this guy's huge. 6'3", 250 pounds. That's a hulking kind of guy that, to be behind.
It's kind of upsetting because he's probably thinking like, oh, because I'm like this big burly person, I can do whatever I want to do, Because that was very brazen to do that at the front of the store too.
Uh-huh.
One, to grope a person, and then two, to grope a person during coronavirus time in front of other people. This is wrong on a lot of levels.
Yep. And wrong that he thought he was talking with her buttocks.
Yeah, that was just a dumb excuse.
Isn't this how you talk to women?
What did he think the cops are going to be like? Like, he didn't know. We should let him go. No.
Oh yeah, the old ignorance rule. I didn't know.
Right. I didn't know.
Oh,
They're just going to take pity on you?
Well, that's the end of that chapter.
Right? Exactly, right?
Yeah. So, no, he's going to face a serious battery charge in Florida. So, there you go. You got to love crazy Florida stories. All right, but before we officially wrap up this power hour of the Crispy Compact Communiqué, we like to do a little segment of apocalypse activities, give you something to do in the upcoming week while you're stuck in quarantine. So, Mike, what do you want to recommend to people?
Well, I'll just circle back to what I said earlier. Try to pick up a form of entertainment that you haven't done before. Watch a movie you've never seen, go back to an old classic, watch a TV show that people constantly keep recommending, pick up a book, try your hand at painting, listen to, an album that you've never listened to before, try a different genre of music, listen to like Hamilton or another musical. You got nothing else to do. You got nowhere to go, Yep. It's going to start getting hot outside, so you don't want to go outside and sweat your ass off. So, just broaden your entertainment horizons is what I'm suggesting.
You just had to mention the weather.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm sitting here sweating already, so.
Yeah, we're going to have a random heat spike this weekend here in Philadelphia. So,
yeah. But also, you don't want to go outside because everybody's going to want to go outside, and it's just going to crowd up the public areas, So it's almost like you got to go outside when the weather's not good if you want to get outdoors, because if you go outside when it's nice, everybody has the same idea. Yeah. And it's hard to maintain social distance if everybody's out and about. So stay inside, watch your movies, watch your TV shows, but make it something different.
Yep.
What about you, Rich? What do you got?
I'm going to recommend that everyone, if you are a big video gamer like I am, to go to Grand Theft Auto Online, because in the month of May, as long as you log on to your Grand Theft Auto Online character, you get a free in-game $500,000 point thing to use. And for those who don't play the game, you can use that to buy weird pads. You can use it to go to a casino and gamble, which I love. I think that's really cool. You can use it to buy specific vehicles. You can use it to, obviously you can go to you can buy ridiculous weapons and grenades with it and have fun crashing the town. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And for get a free $500,000 head start. Why not? Yeah. Just for logging on. That's all you got to do. You literally log on, and the time after that session ends, the next time you log on, you get it. So it's easy. It's go. Free currency. Why not? Take it.
Yeah, make a quick couple $100,000. Yeah.
Yeah, and then have fun. And I actually do love Grand Theft Auto Online. I think it's been a lot of fun. I know a lot of people are lamenting that it's almost like the death of Rockstar because they've been putting all their effort into that instead of new games.
I mean, they're not wrong.
No, but it's fun. It really is a fun little platform to have and wreak havoc, and they have so many options to do. You can golf in it, so it's perfect. There's golf. There's gambling.
You would go into a video game. You would go into a video game just to golf and gamble.
Yes, it's great. Yes. And it's the holidays too, apparently. The phone, I forgot to set the phone ringer off, so there you go. That's how you know this is live.
Between me freezing and your Christmas phone going off.
Yeah, there you go. My mom's Christmas phone just went off. So
this is top quality content here at the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
Yeah. There you go. I think that's an appropriate way to start to wrap up the show. The jingle, it's the new sounder. The jingle bell music went off. That means it's time to end the show.
Rich, we got to do that every time now.
Yeah.
You can call your house phone from your cell phone, and that'll be how we end these episodes.
There you go. The jingle bell music means we're coming to the end of the hour. We want to thank all you guys for listening, whether it's on the podcast, on Spotify or Google Plus or whatever you're listening to, or whether you're watching us on Facebook Live. Thank you for supporting us during this crazy quarantine period. Thank you for supporting. Just when everything goes crazy, this is what we do. We have the show. We still get you a new show every week. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can see our handles. But for those on the podcast version of this, I am at Rich Liebig, RichLiebig.
I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
Yep. And actually, that was actually really good timing. We were actually coming to the end of the show, and I'm coming down to the last of my beer. So this worked.
There you go.
Christmas! It's randomly Christmas.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Yes, there you go. Let's watch Die Hard now. Woo!
It is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas movie.
And a children's movie, too.
Apparently, yes.
Yeah.
We discovered that.
That's right. There's a children's book about Die Hard. So it's now a children's book. Anyway. Yeah. There you go. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching our craziness. And yeah, once again, leave a comment below or tweet at us at the Crispy Noodle, or leave a comment on their Instagram page at the Crispy Noodle Podcast. If you want us to talk about a specific topic, if you have a question that you want us to tackle, let us know what you want to hear the next time we do the Crispy Compact Communiqué, and we will get it on the show. So there you go. We will review all comments and submissions. But all right,
right.
I'm coming to the end. My throat's starting to get a little dry.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention, Mike?
I was just going to say, make sure you search for, download, and subscribe to the Crispy Noodle Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. If you're not watching on Facebook Live, you subscribe there. You get the audio version of the Crispy Compact Communiqué every week. And then eventually, sometime in the distant future, we will return to the traditional Crispy Noodle Podcast.
Somehow we will. Yeah. I don't know how, but we'll one day get back to the normal swing of things.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, this is the Crispy Compact Communiqué, and this is the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Thank you guys for watching or listening on the podcast app of your choice. All right, I'm out of beer. It's time to end this episode. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys
Later. Bye-bye.